So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first Staying Mission Driven of 2023. I think most of you know, but these meetings started at the very beginning of COVID, and we were meeting weekly actually then. And it was, the purpose of them was to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to hear directly from state leaders and administration, helping us navigate what we could and couldn't do during COVID, making sure that we were all staying safe, but still serving the mission of WSU as best as we could. And as time went on, we changed to every other week, and now we're monthly. So, and I think these are great meetings, are a great opportunity for us to interact together, you know, across the state, hear directly from me and other people about what's happening at Washington State University and within the Master Gardener program. So one announcement I want to share with you today, our website is continually being updated. If you have not been out to our mastergardener.wsu.edu website, please go there. There's lots and lots of things. And in addition, there are lots of tools for Master Gardener volunteers. So I want to show you where those are. Let's see. You guys are seeing my screen now, right? I'm not getting the green. Are you seeing my screen? Can I get it? Yes.
Yeah, it's your email.
Thank you. Okay. So this is the website. At the very bottom, if you scroll to the bottom, there's tools for Master Gardener volunteers.
Jennifer, you're sharing your email. You want to switch your screen to your
Thank you, Jayla.
it was just your Staying Mission Driven, so nothing
Okay.
too revealing.
So now are you
There
seeing?
you go. That's perfect.
Okay, that was weird. Okay, I don't know. Okay, appreciate it.
Jennifer, that's the problem that I had yesterday during the all extension meeting. It was showing the wrong page.
Yeah, it didn't. Anyway, whatever. I'm sharing the right screen now. I guess that's what counts. Okay, so I am on the main homepage of our website, mastergardener.wsu.edu. If you scroll clear down to the bottom, there's tools for Master Gardener volunteers. You'll see marketing materials, approved seminars for advanced education, webinars for advanced education, presentation materials that will really help us focus on our program priorities, policy and procedures, plant and insect diagnostic resources. But I want to point out, all these are fun Zoom backgrounds. If you want to have a Zoom background like mine, or like something else you could do, let's see, I saw something that said signs of spring. We don't look like this yet at my house. We're still like covered in a foot of snow, but soon we will have this. So if you want to go and download these, you know, one of these or a couple of these and put them in your Zoom, you can have a background that is relevant to the Master Gardener program. And then you can see some that are relevant to our program priorities too. So here's a soil health composting one.
Nice.
So anyway, take a look at these and pull them down, and they're great conversation starters. And if you're teaching a class on soil health or on composting, you can have this in your background. So next on the agenda we'll get is Mike Peranto. Mike Peranto is a WSU Extension Pierce County Master Gardener volunteer. And he and John Strong, who is Secretary of the Master Gardener Foundation of Washington State, and a few others have been working on a unifying foundation website project. So Mike is here today to talk to you about that project and give you insight into what's happening with that. So Mike, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. And I'm going to grab the screen from you for a little demo if you can release.
Yep.
Hi, everybody. So thank you for introducing me, Jennifer, and you introduced John Strong. The couple of others will probably never let you forget it, Jennifer, since she knows them really well. It's Debbie Benbow, who is all over the place. Debbie does a lot of stuff for us, and Craig Lawrence, both of Chelan Douglas County. So the four of us got together and worked on a little project, and I was going to give you a little show you on that. So hang on a second. I'm grabbing the screen. You guys can all see that, I hope. So I will make it prettier in a second, but I want to give a little of the background to the project. So a year ago this time, it was actually Jennifer who corralled us all, Craig, Debbie, and myself into a little team, and we were working on redoing the program website for the state, which was what Jennifer just showed you a little bit of. Towards the tail end of that project, the state foundation people came to us and said, hey, can we get a new website too? At that, when the first conversation, we kind of, schedules weren't going to line up and we kind of put it on the shelf. But when we finished that project, it made us aware of kind of a foundation website issue. And we started poking around a little bit. And what we did is we took, here's a screenshot of what the state foundation site looked like. But we also just kind of randomly grabbed screenshots of the first half a dozen chapter foundations and took a look at that. And if you just stand back, I mean, individually, they might all be great websites, but collectively, we have different layouts, different color schemes, different messaging, different everything. And that was one of the things that really stuck with me, because if you think about Master Gardeners, statewide, we've been around for 50 years. Statewide, we have over 4,000 volunteers. I don't know, I'm not an expert on charitable organizations, but I got to figure we're kind of one of the leading charitable organizations across the state of Washington for a couple generations. And yet, if you were to come and visit any one of our foundation websites, we don't look like it. We look like separate, just a county specific kind of organization. So during the summer, we had a bunch of meetings with the various chapters and pitched this notion of, hey, let's unify all of the foundation websites with a look and feel that is similar to the program, but different, shows alignment with Washington State University, but shows that we're on, and create a little container that where any chapter who wanted to participate could quickly adopt a similar look and feel. So what I'm going to do, over the summer, got the thumbs up from the foundation folks. Fourth quarter, we started development of that, and then we released the state foundation website towards the end of the year. What I'm going to do is give you just a little demo of that. So picture in your head, this is what we used to look like. Oops, and let's go here. Now we're big screen. This is what the foundation looks like today. Okay, so if you haven't been there recently, please go to the foundation website. And another little trick on that is we retained the acronym-oriented MGFWS, but we actually went out and bought a new domain name, which is Master Gardener Foundation, and we own .org and .com. So we tried to make this more general public would be able to find us. General public wouldn't know about MGFWS, but they would maybe type in Master Gardener and find the foundation. And then we redirected MGFWS to this. So whether you type MGFWS or whether you type Master Gardener Foundation, this is where you'll go. Okay. For look and feel, real quick, I'm going to jump back to the program site. Jump back. Kind of looks like the same organizations, but different, I hope. We also, with the program, before we added the 50-year functionality, we kind of created the the argument, if you understood our priorities, our programs, that you would want to join us, kind of a three-bar argument. We adopted similar thing for the state foundation, where understand our people and our 4,000 strong, our communities, which is code name for we got chapters across the state, and our alliance with Washington State University. We're trying to show the size and scope of the foundation and the scope of the program in general. Okay. If you, Jennifer gave me a few minutes. I'm not going to give you every single page, but just highlight a couple of ones. When you
Sounds
go
good.
to the organization page, again, we tried to build the three-pronged argument: alliance of the state university, alliance with the state foundation, and alliance with the chapter foundations. So we're selling a bigger notion than just we're an individual state foundation or an individual chapter, right? We also put in we just lifted it straight out of the program website, but give you one place to go where you just 1 or 2 clicks away from any of our 24 chapters, be it program site or foundation site. You know, this is worth the site alone for those of you who try to navigate and see what other foundations and chapters are doing. You can just go here and you can click and find it really easily. Talk a little bit about the board. Got more visually oriented, where we could see, you could see your board members, and also built right into that a nice little function so that you know upcoming meetings. Heads up, everybody, February 1, next Wednesday, there's a meeting at 10 a.m. Mark it, or if you'd like to subscribe, you just click there and it gets added to your calendar. Anything else? A Jennifer favorite. Again, so there is always a discussion of what's foundation and what's program. And what we tried to do is we tried to stay clean on focusing on foundation activities, the fundraising aspect. But to do that, there's always a notion of, yeah, well, if I donate to you, what am I going to get for my money? And Jennifer focuses on quantifiable impacts. So we lifted some of that and put it over on the foundation site to build the argument that if you contribute to us, here's some of the tangible benefits that you get across the state. Okay. And then, a cornerstone of the state foundation, of course, is the Advanced Education Conference. So we'll go there. And then if you click here, you'll go straight to this year's conference website. A couple more. This page, believe it or not, we redid this page 5 times. So it's a foundation site. It's about collecting money, but it's a little more complex when you're talking statewide. So we wanted to promote our alignment with the WSU Endowed Chair. So if you click here, you go over to the program site that describes that, and then get money from you for that. The previous foundation site was focused on the AEC endowment, an endowment to make sure that we're always the Advanced Education Conference lives on in perpetuity. So we renamed it the AEC endowment to get a little more clarity between endowment and endowment. And then we actually created a third one, an operating fund, for just the casual person coming by and whipping out their credit card. We want to be able to take money online in a very convenient fashion. And then last but not least, kind of returning where we start, our people. We wanted to feature key contributors, master gardeners across the state. So roll this up, got more picture oriented who our award winners are, but we also included the ability to nominate next year's people down at the bottom of the site. So that's a quick demo of what is in the new State Foundation website. I encourage you to go take a look, play with it a little bit, and go to that little map and you can navigate yourself around. I wanted to give this demonstration because I did want to show off and do a victory lap, but I also wanted to come back to this, which is, so phase 1 was redo the state website. January 1st, then we turned our attention to the various chapters. So we formed, we're now actively working with 3 different chapters. I'm doing Pierce with a team from Pierce. Craig and Debbie are doing Chelan Douglas, and John is doing Yakima. And those sites are ticking along. So if you want to see what a individual chapter would look like in this structure, we're going to, I mean, this is your teaser. Next Wednesday at the State Foundation meeting, I'll be on the agenda again, and I'll give you a demo of what the Pierce site looks like 4 weeks in. We started January 3rd in earnest, and we'll be showing you at the end of the month what that site looks like. The reason I'm doing that is because once we finish with those 3, we're looking for other chapters that are interested in becoming part of this framework. And so we need to build our pipeline of chapters throughout the year. So the February 1st meeting will be a little bit more detail on what it looks like. And then we'll ask you all to kind of raise your hand. If anybody who's interested, we'll schedule a more detailed meeting and see if we can get alignment between what you guys want to accomplish and what we can do for the rest of the year. So that's it for me.
All right, great. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
So there was a quick, people want to know, was it built in WordPress? And if so, what editor, what theme?
So thank you. Part of the alignment thing is also goes to technology as well. So we did the first program website came about because there was a major upgrade in WordPress that WSU adopted. And WSU spent a ton of time creating the themes that they use across the WSU site. When we started up the UFW site, we went back to WSU and asked if we could borrow their themes and modify them. And they happily let us do that, as well as using the WSU logo and things like that. So we're standing on the shoulders of the work that the people at WSU did. We are the most recent release of WordPress with the a modified WSU theme. I don't know exactly what the name of it is, but that's what we're using.
I think it's called Gutenberg.
That is the big step forward in the technology. Is there is a thing called the Gutenberg editor that allows you to go more picture oriented, text oriented, which is what you've seen throughout the site. And that is what we're using in the latest release of that. Easy to use. In Pierce County, what we're doing, and we have people who've never used it before. We're kind of training as we go, and it's actually other volunteers, myself and the 3 other volunteers are the ones doing the site.
Okay.
Other questions? All yours, Jennifer.
All right. Thanks, Mike. And thanks to the team working on the Unifying Foundation website project. I love having, the crossover similarities between the program and the foundation, and the ability to, what do you call it, Mike, when we are something audiences? Can't remember the word.
Aggregating. We're trying
Aggregating audiences.
There we
There you
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you
and-
so much.
And so I'll get one other plug in if you get for people asking about the technology. Part of the benefit of this is having everybody on the same set of technology. We form a little community of people who all know how to do this. So it's going to be easier to maintain these sites as opposed to currently where you're kind of like this little island that only have one specialist that knows how to do this. So hopefully this will be easier to maintain too, but I'll stop selling. Back to you.
Okay, you got one taker, Alice Lusher in Cowlitz. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right, thank you again, Mike, appreciate it. So next on our agenda is Wendy Powers, Dr. Wendy Powers. She is the inaugural Kashyap Davis Family Endowed Dean of the College of Agricultural, Human, and Natural Resource Sciences. Joining Connors on August 15th, 2022, Wendy embodies the land grant mission through her collaborative work with agricultural producers and research peers nationwide. As a scientist, she links research discovery with outreach to the livestock industry, providing knowledge and tools to help producers reduce their environmental impacts while staying competitive and meeting growing consumer demand. So Wendy, thanks for being here today. We really appreciate your time, and we're all anxious to hear what you have to say.
Right. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, everyone. I really like that introduction. I have no idea where it came from, so I'll have to figure out who wrote that. But it's so great to be here and nice to meet all of you. And Mike, you and the team, what a great job on the website. A really nice job. So
Thank you.
I'm going to share my screen and just go through a little update of what Connors has been up to since joining in August, and a little bit about myself before I jump into that. I am new to Washington State, just having moved here in August, and really excited about being here at WSU and working with all of you. Prior to being at WSU, I was at the University of California system for 10 years. And I've been in Michigan for 6 years, and then I was at Michigan State for 10 years and Iowa State for 10 years. And starting some of my time in Michigan State, I moved into administration and balanced that with my research program.
Wendy, your microphone is coming in and out. We're really having a hard time hearing you. I don't know why.
Well, I'm in a hotel room, so let me try turning off the video
Okay.
and see if that'll help.
That's better. If you were leaning forward, that was great. Just leaning forward, maybe. I didn't see.
Okay.
I don't know if you were, but.
Okay, so I pulled the computer a little closer.
Okay, I think that made a huge difference. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks for pointing that out. So as I was saying, for about the last 13 years, I've had administrative responsibilities, and during that time, the Master Gardener program has been within my portfolio of programs. So really excited to meet with all of you, and hope I get a chance to meet you as the year goes on in person. First, I want to say happy anniversary to the Master Gardener program. Very exciting that here it is, your 50th anniversary. And again, having been with the program for the last 13 years, or having it in my portfolio, it's so fun to finally be at the place where it all started. So I know you have a number of celebrations coming up this year. I'll be at, I think, all but the one in Prosser, I believe. And so again, I really hope to get to meet a number of you in person during those celebrations. Again, learning more about the program, just so inspiring to think that 2 people from Extension came up with this idea of training trainers and the volunteers on the science. And I've seen firsthand how important it is to be working with the volunteers, and how much the volunteers give back to all of our programs across the land grant system. And so I know you've grown considerably, but even to see the importance of this back in 1973 with 600 applicants for the first class is really astounding, and a testament to how strong the program is here in Washington. So since I've joined Connors in August, we've really been thinking about a plan going forward for the college, and what is our vision for Washington, and how is Connors going to contribute to that vision for Washington? And really key to all of that is, how do we engage our volunteers in achieving that vision and supporting our volunteers throughout that process? So I know often with the land grants, we talk about our students, our faculty, our staff, but those volunteers are so critical to achieving the vision as well. And I can't overstate how important it is to have you be part of our planning process. As we've thought about the vision for Washington and how Connors will contribute to that, we are really emphasizing a need to ensure a resilient Washington going forward. And by resilient, I mean a Washington that can easily weather an economic recession, a global pandemic, climate change, a foreign war, anything that comes at us, how do we position Washington to be able to take on all of that in a way that is unwavering to the success of Washington going forward? And so some key tenets to that resilient Washington, where I think Connors in particular can contribute, is ensuring that we have a trained, adaptable workforce. And that's largely through our students, but not just our bachelor's students. This is lifelong learning that we're talking about. And so Extension is heavily involved in that. And you, as trainers, are very involved in that as well. In addition, strong stewardship of our natural resources is key to having that resilient Washington. And I know that's an area where the volunteers really focus a lot of energy, and where a number of our programs, even with commercial industry, is focusing a lot of effort. And that's something that we need to maintain in order to have that resilient Washington. And then, of course, an accessible, healthy food supply is critical, and really one of the core functions of Connors and the contributions that we make across Washington. And then finally, thriving communities, families, and individuals. And again, this is where I see the Master Gardener volunteers really engaging with communities throughout the state and contributing to that nature of a thriving environment. And so I think all of these, I hope you see yourself in all of these pillars. I certainly do, and that's where it's going to be so important to engage you in this process as we develop the vision. So how does Connors contribute? Well, it's through engaged scholarship, relevant learning opportunities, and transformational research. And what does that mean in terms of what we do? It's certainly just not the classroom setting or the lab setting, but it's really that community engaged work, and it's work throughout the state, conducted not just by employees and students, but also our volunteers as well. And so as we start building out, what does it mean in terms of what does Connors do in the future, we also will have to think about how do we get there, i.e. a strategic plan. And that was one of the key parts of the position that I recently started, was building that plan. And so I want to talk a little bit about how that connects to the Master Gardener volunteers, and particularly kind of a stepwise process that we're using. We're currently building a programmatic vision for Connors, and that has representation from all of the units within Connors, whether they're field-based or Pullman-based or at our research centers. And we're asking for input on what is the vision for the future to build that resilient Washington. There's a place in this where the Master Gardener volunteers will be contributing to that vision as we develop it, and it will be through the representation on that committee and also vetting out the drafts across the organization. So Jennifer, Vicki, others will be seeing these and have an opportunity to weigh in, and there's certainly encouragement to share it broadly with all of our volunteers and with all of our students and employees as well. After we have the programmatic vision, we'll be working on developing that strategic plan that really operationalizes the vision. What does this look like? How do we align things, and how do we support it? And certainly then there's an opportunity to weigh in on that as well coming forward. And then finally, implementation of the plan and measuring progress. And I am a person who really likes to focus on impact, so really excited to see that aspect of the website and really the outcomes of all the great things that you're doing. So I think you're already well on the path to gathering those impacts and helping us think more deliberately about how we measure that across the college to achieve that resilient Washington. So as I've learned more about the Master Gardener program here in Washington, with more than 4,000 Master Gardeners through the state and that community service that they're providing, as well as the educational component of the program, the volunteers are really a critical part of that Resilient Washington and how Connors move forward to achieve that. Excuse me. So the other part of that I think is also really critical, and Mike alluded to it in the revision of the website, is that first ever dedicated Master Gardener program faculty chair, that endowed chair position. And I would see this position being somebody who is part of that regular interaction with the leadership team throughout Connors, as well as a leader in the support volunteers in the work.
I lost her again.
Yeah, Wendy, we lost you again. Right when you started talking about the endowed chair, is when we lost you.
Okay, I apologize. So you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the endowed chair is somebody who I would see working closely with the leadership team of Extension, really engaged with that team and also with other leaders throughout Connors. So this is a position that I think really helps connect the Master Gardeners, the volunteer program, with the broader Connors, as well as connecting communities across the state. I'm excited about this position. I'm not sure there's any other similar positions in other states, but again, with Washington having led the development of the Master Gardener program, it makes perfect sense that Washington would lead the development of this position as well, and really serve as a model across the country in ensuring that we have volunteers who are fully engaged across the college and Extension, but also that connection across the state. So I'm really excited to see this position coming forward, and would love to be engaged with all of you in how we ensure the success of getting that position supported going forward. With that, I will just close and say that I'd love to have a lot of discussion with you today about this and your ideas, but I can't thank you enough for everything that all of you do. I know it's a huge commitment to be a Master Gardener volunteer, but you are so important to Connors and to your communities. And so thank you. And I think I've left plenty of time for discussion.
Thank you, Wendy. Are there any questions for Wendy? She really would like to engage in dialogue and hear what you're thinking and understand, what the needs are from the volunteer perspective.
Linda.
So Wendy, one of the things that I saw in your slide deck that I'm not sure people really understand is what is engaged scholarship? What is scholarship in an academic system?
So scholarship is, scholarship is also thought of as bringing in grants and generating publications. But I'm a firm believer that while that's really important, if you don't get it to the implementation phase, it's just a paper. And so engaged scholarship is not only bringing it out into implementation, but it's a two-way communication. It's a co-creation of a solution that's evidence-based. And not all scholarship has always worked that way, but there's a renewed interest in that because it doesn't always fit every community the same solution, right? It has to be tailored. And so that requires an iterative process where you're working with the community. Could be an individual, it could be a city, it could be a commodity group. And you're working with them in an iterative way to solve the problem. You try something, you go back, you adjust, you try something different. And it's a two-way street of communication where the client group, the partner, is a full partner in providing input and solutions as well that are then implemented out in the field.
Great, thank you. So it looks like there's a couple of questions coming in. Yeah, so what would the duties of an endowed chair entail? And how do you see it impacting us at each county level?
Yeah, so if we look at what's being proposed now with that endowed chair, the endowed chair is really there to support the volunteer program in developing curriculum, in engaging and training the volunteers. The endowed part of it ensures that there are funds available for that person to actually carry out these duties. And so we have a number of endowed chairs within the college, funded by various sources. And what it does, it allows them to have continuity in their program without having to go and get grants in order to do every piece of work that they do. And when you work in a grant-based program, you're obligated to stick within the confines of that grant. And you lose that continuity from one year to the next because you're reapplying for the grants. And depending on the program, the funding rate could be as low as 10%, it could be as high as 40%, but you'll get to the end of that 3-year period. And if you don't have the new grant, the program largely ceases. The endowment allows that work to continue. And it allows someone to actually do that long-term planning because they would have the funding support behind them that is guaranteed based on the payout rate of the endowment. Markets go up and down, but largely, you can count on roughly a 4% payout of the endowment over time through the market highs and lows that allows them to build that plan of utilizing those endowed funds.
Thank
Does
you.
that answer your question?
I think so. There's also, for those of you who are interested, on the website, Debbie Benbow put a link to a FAQ that we have on our program website. So I think that will help answer the question as well. So you can head out to that and have a look. There's many questions there.
I see there's also a comment in here about seeing more advanced training opportunities for Master Gardeners. And I think that's a great idea. I love the webinar series. I think there's some opportunity there. I would have to venture a guess, much like all of you, there's a certain level of sense that people are, running on all cylinders right now. And we need to really think about how do we deploy the Master Gardeners as part of our broader team to get the work done and get the education out there. And that then becomes very appealing to the extension faculty broadly across campus. And then, of course, with the increased use of Zoom for trainings, I think people are far more comfortable doing that, both delivering information and receiving information that way. I think one of the benefits is that this endowed faculty member is that they then become part of this team of endowed faculty in Connors, and that provides a stronger connection to understand what the needs and the goals of the volunteers are for training opportunities. So I would hope that that would increase training opportunities and engagement with more faculty across Connors.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big benefits that I see coming. It's the connection with other faculty across Connors that the program does not have currently. But then also I don't know if I want to say time, but the purpose of the position is to train volunteers in a variety of ways. Yeah.
Shannon has a comment in here about a visual that really references the connectivity of Connors through all the way down to the county master gardeners. I do like that idea. When I think about who are the people of Connors, I think of the volunteers as part of the people of Connors. I think it would be helpful to really, even in an infographic way, convey that information that, you know, we are Connors and this includes X number of master gardener volunteers, X number of 4-H volunteers, master naturalists, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, that, I mean, connecting the dots is something that's really important to me as the program leader, helping volunteers see their connection to Washington State University, to Connors, and that we are all serving the same, you know, vision and mission of education across the state. The onboarding or the orientation training that we do have in the Master Gardener program has a little infographic about that connection, but it doesn't include all of the other pieces about, you know, infographics about 4-H. It does talk about 4-H, but so maybe more pictorials would be a good thing to add to that. Appreciate the comment. Anything else for Wendy?
I'd love to hear what's on your mind. Maybe something to think about for when I meet you all in person.
Yeah. So Wendy, you will be at the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival with us on February, I don't know, 18th. I think it's a Saturday. So you'll be there visiting with volunteers and visiting with passersby. That'll be nice. I see, so a couple of people have put a comment in. So Alice Fletcher, on her mind is HortSense. So Wendy, are you aware of our HortSense system?
I am not.
So I'm not going to be able to do a very good job of explaining how it's connected, but it's part of our integrated pest management program based in Puyallup. It is a online resource that master gardeners can use to help in our plant clinics, help solve plant problems and provide recommendations for solving those plant problems. It is a system that Carrie Foss manages it. It's currently in the middle of an update. Actually, Craig Lawrence is helping with that project. So so Alice, what more specifically is on your mind about HortSense? Speak, you can unmute yourself and speak up.
Okay. Well, you know, if Wendy's not, you know, that's not part of her venue, I don't want to put that on her, but there's a lot of, there's not a lot of support for recommending pesticides regarding toxicity, both to, you know, to the environment and people, but especially to pollinators. And they list, you know, the organic and the, you know, least toxic right along with the inorganic, which are very toxic. So master gardeners in general would love that kind of support because we rely on HortSense.
It's one of our approved resources for making pesticide recommendations. I think it is, you know, it's part of Connors, but Wendy, being new, probably hasn't. She's making her way around the state and learning about everything as best as she can.
Yeah. I see there's a comment in here about the Master Gardener Endowed Chair, the plan. I know there is conversation within the development services team. I think Vicki might be more up to date on that than I am, or you, Jennifer. Do either one of you want to tackle that question?
Sure. Vicki, do you want to start and then I'll fill in?
I was going to turn it to you, Jennifer.
Okay.
I'm part of the team, but you're leading it, so you should probably talk.
Okay, great. So we have been working behind the scenes with Connors Development for more than a year on the plan for reaching the goal for the $1.5 million. We're still in what fund developers call the silent phase. And that is the phase of a development campaign where we are trying to raise half the money. And once we get to that phase through, to that half, then the Connors development people can really go out to those folks who are potential large donors and say, this is a campaign, this is a fund development campaign that is worth your consideration. The larger donors want to know ahead of time that the people who either work in a program or volunteer their time like you all do in a particular area, that they care enough about the work that they're doing to actually put their dollars toward it as well. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but what those larger donors and even some of those corporations, if we do go out, I know there's a plan to go out to the corporations, but those corporations in particular, they really want to know that the individuals who are working with the program care enough to put their own dollars toward it. So there is a plan, but it's really in the silent phase right now. Part of what you see behind me is a 5 for 5 campaign. So 5 for 5 drive. And this is the purpose of this drive is to bring the $1.5 million down to an understandable level. So we have 4,000 volunteers across the state and many, many, many more constituents, folks who attend our trainings. And if we have 5,000 pledges, $5 a month for 5 years, that's $1.5 million. So that's less than a cup of coffee a month, or a total of $300 a year per person, 5,000 people. And, many people have given more than that already. And some people, won't have the capacity to give. And that's, financially, and that's totally acceptable, totally fine. But we're really working hard to bring it down to the level of understanding that it's all of our money together adds up. Any other comments there? So did that answer your question, Jerry? It's really, like I said, in the silent phase right now. And the plan has been about, getting people to know about it, hear about it, teach themselves about it. So go ahead, Jerry.
So how is the word about 5 for 5 getting out?
It's brand new. So it launched last week. So we're doing it right now.
Super.
Yeah, so this is a Zoom background. It's on that Zoom list, the Zoom background list that I showed you about. We're going to be at the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. We have buttons that volunteers will be wearing, posters that say "Ask Me." So that's and we'll be throughout the year at our 50th anniversary celebrations, be talking about it that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jennifer, will they, at the booth at the Flower and Garden Show, will they have like cards or something with a QR code that we can give out to people?
Yes.
That'll go right to the donation site?
Yeah, we have posters with QR codes. Yep, we
Okay.
have lots of,
Great.
and all the volunteers have been trained on talking points. Yep. So Tana says, thank you to Connors Development and Connors Marketing Communications. I want to, shout out to them, to the Connors Comms and Connors Development folks. They've been doing a fantastic job helping us launch our 50th anniversary and make sure that it is really one for the record books.
Jennifer, in addition to thanking Connors Marketing and Communication and Development, I want to thank the team that's been working with them, because without the team that you've orchestrated, that's Master Gardener coordinators and volunteers, they would have nothing to work with. And it's been exciting to see it move forward. I remember more than a year ago, us starting to meet, and that group is awesome. And many of the individuals on that team are on this call. And so I want to thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Yeah, so there's 5 volunteers who are working behind the scenes. Tana Hassert from Pierce County, Kathy Lamoureux from Spokane County, Deborah Benbow from Chelan Douglas, Deborah Smeltzer from Skagit, and Susan Inlow Romine from Benton Franklin. So another comment about HortSense PestSense endorsement for online resources. I use them at plant clinics as community members who stop by are usually not wanting to take the time of on-site publications. I would love emphasis in this area for further development. Really helps with my education and today's gardeners. Thanks, Shannon. As part of the 50th anniversary celebrations, we have surveyed the stakeholders, envisioning what our, and one of the questions is envisioning what our future might be. And we did the same work nationally, and the themes really matched up between what, you know, master gardeners in Washington state envision as our future and what master gardeners nationally envision as our future. And one of the big themes was having our resources digitally available and making our resources more accessible to all people.
Jennifer, I think that's part of the proposal that's sitting on my desk to move forward. Is that not correct?
That is correct, yep.
Well,
Any other
thank,
questions? Go ahead, Wendy. Yep.
I was just going to say thank you all for the conversation today, and sincerely for all the work that you do to support Connors and WSU. And I do hope to meet many of you in the coming months at the celebrations.
Thank you for your time today, Wendy. We appreciate you being here, leading Connors and supporting all the work that volunteers do across the state. Anything else for the good of the group?
I just got an email from someone who had trouble getting into this meeting
Okay,
and asked how to get the recording.
so if they're registered, they will get the recording through the Give Pulse registration. If they're not registered, I'm going to send out that recording to all program coordinators so they can share it out. And the recording will be put on our YouTube page.
Thank you. And if I don't know why they had trouble getting in and if there's something going on with their email. So I will ask them to tell me if they don't get it. And
Okay.
then we'll problem solve from there.
Okay, great, thank you. So I have a request to discuss the funding structure for foundations at the state and chapter level. Do contributions to state foundation get distributed to counties? Also, is there WSU or state government funding for chapter operations, or are they funded purely through foundations? So the state foundation is I'm not even gonna try. I'm gonna turn it right over to the state foundation president. Tana, you want to talk about the state foundation for a second?
Sure. Good morning. So as you can tell, Jennifer and I are good partners because we know how to bounce things back and forth together. So the state foundation's purpose, just like your local foundations, is to financially support the mission of the Master Gardener program. In addition to that, we strive to develop partnerships and also to ensure that we're providing the best statewide information possible to your foundation so they have additional resources. We are in the process of doing goal setting for 2023. Our first meeting is on February 1st, and the board will consider those goals. And I'd encourage you to sign up for the meeting if you're interested, but most importantly, please encourage your representatives to attend. Our goals this year are very much aligned with program goals. We're looking at technology and further development of the website. We're looking at some common documents that your foundation may want to access, things like samples of bylaws and articles of incorporation, for instance, and leveraging partnerships, just as was done with the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. We had an incredible response to that initiative and are working to identify more and similar initiatives in the same vein. So we'd be happy to answer questions. During the year, we'll be having some regional listening sessions where we actually come to your area, meet with those who are interested, and both share information and respond to questions. So I hope that's a good overview.
Thanks, Tana. So part of the question was, how the state foundation funds are distributed. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Tana, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Okay. So historically, the state foundation has focused on the Advanced Education Conference, and the funding that they have for that local foundations give to the state foundation, or local, just individuals give to the state foundation. It really supports the operation of the Advanced Education Conference and the education that volunteers receive for that. So there has not been an example of that I'm aware of where state foundation dollars get distributed to county foundations. But I think as we look forward into the future, and we're really wanting to make sure that all programs and foundations are fully supported, both with financial means and with human resources, to make sure that we're doing the best job that we can to serve the communities of Washington State. So while right now the money doesn't funnel from the state foundation to the local counties, that doesn't mean that it won't in the future. And I think that's part of, the bigger picture that we're wanting to look at. And then the other part of it was, is there WSU or state government funding for chapter operations? So when you say chapter operations, to me, that means foundation operations. So there isn't WSU funding that goes directly to the chapters, but there is WSU funding that supports all of the county programs across the state, either directly or indirectly. And that money comes from memorandum of agreements that the counties have with their local governments. So WSU contracts or is in partnership with county governments, and county governments support the Master Gardener program financially. It's kind of the money goes from the county to WSU to pay salaries and other things to support the program. And also things like HortSense and PestSense and our pesticide research and education programs, the Rachel Bombergers and the Jenny Glasses and, me and Vicky and Connors Development and Connors Communication, all of those people are supporting the Master Gardener program on a daily basis. Wendy Powers, right? So that's the WSU piece of supporting the program, not necessarily the chapters. So chapter means foundation to me. I don't know if it means foundation to you or not.
Jennifer, I can add a good example of how foundation dollars, state foundation dollars, are supporting at the local foundation is the website project that Mike just mentioned.
Good point.
So we were able to develop the state foundation website, but then use those tools to pass down to the counties, dramatically reducing the amount that it costs you to develop and to maintain a website, while also looking for some uniform look across the state for that tool. And the foundation, the state foundation, invested in that initiative. And so it lowered the cost for the counties that may want to adopt that same technology.
And not only lowering the cost, but it makes it more accessible to some of the smaller counties who, you know, they don't have to start from scratch. It's there, the template's there, and they can just use it. Anything else for the good of the group? Okay, so I did see in the chat, great start to a new year. I think that's a nice sentiment to close with. And I look forward to seeing you all and working with you all throughout the year in celebration of 50 years. It's going to be a fun time. Our next meeting is February 23rd, Thursday, February 23rd at 9 a.m. Appreciate you all being here.